Hi everyone, welcome back to the Lightworkers. Today we have Anu with us and she's here to share her spiritual nuggets with us. So, hi Anu, how are you?
Hi Anisha, I'm good, and thank you for inviting me for this. It's
So,
it's it's
Anu,
always a pleasure to be at platforms which are helping people realize, more information and more knowledge about what healing actually is, and even remove the misconceptions which are prevalent around
yeah.
it.
Anu, do you want to like go into the depths of your spiritual journey? And also, I mean, what I read was that you moved from your corporate world to the spiritual world. So, how has that all been? And what has your motivation been around that?
Yes. So I think from childhood itself, I was very intuitive, but this is something that it's not usually talked about, whether it is through premonitions, through dreams, my connect with nature, wanting to touch each and every plant, look at them, talk to them, feel how they are feeling. So this was always, even looking at flowers and the colors. So this was part of me, I would say, and I was very much aware of this. But
Mm-hmm.
then the other things which catch up, right? You want to make your parents proud, and it's such a good feeling to come first in the class. And because of again planets, there were some things which were actually automatically happening, especially in terms of
Right.
education. And I have always loved being in school, being with teachers, or even now, like I have two, three coaches or mentors with whom I love to work. That's just my pattern of working, where I feel that I'm more efficient and better when I work with them. So
Mm.
that was there, and I was enjoying the journey while also trying to carve uh, bits and pieces for the things that I love, and not just what parents said that I should be doing. So I definitely kept always this rebellion, or this me trying to place myself first was always there. If their focus was on education and I wanted to be in sports, and I would take that extra initiative to do that. Whatever free sports education or workshops which are available in the school, or even in IIM Ahmedabad, where it is very um, education centric. People say that it's like a boot camp when you go there for MBA, but
Mm.
I was the one who you would find always on the sports grounds, always in dance workshops, anything extracurricular, which was happening. So this part of me, I was very much aware of these authentic parts of me, nature, sports, extracurriculars, wanting to mingle with people, love for reading. So my reading list was way extensive than just the normal books. Like students would come to me, and my class students in the library period would say, "Okay, can we, should we read this book, that book?" Because I had read that entire section of children books by that time. So that's how things were progressing until you come to class 12th, when you have to make a choice. Okay, what do you want to do next? The only thing I was clear about was that I love maths. Again, Uranus in house one, so maths was something which uh, just made me happy. 1,000 ways of doing the same problem. It just excited me that what a magical way, world it is. That either you can go from this way, that way, but you can reach to the same solution. And
Yeah.
arts or being creative, these were the only two things I knew. And at that time, being the eldest in the family, there was no other information available. So yes, you definitely, everyone pushed that go into engineering. And in engineering also, it was others or the seniors deciding that which stream is better. Like if someone told me, someone I looked up to, and he was there at the time of counseling also with us, a family friend, that mechanical engineering is not for women. So I just completely
Mm.
ruled it out in my mind. Like as a child, I trusted that, okay, maybe, this is how it is. Later, I realized that it is the general preference, that only guys go into mechanical engineering. So that happened. And MBA, again, I chose because there was this freedom to choose any subject. Like there were very particular hooks which drew me to something. It was never about, the status. I think that's the benefit of being the eldest, that you're not aware of anything. There is no one to show you. And coming from a, middle class family, everything was very new for me. And after that, corporate career also happened because always wanting to excel. So Nestle and then other companies, and it was fun as long as it was, when you're at junior level, it is more about being creative and doing your own thing and just giving
Mm.
ideas. But as I started growing up in the ladder, and uh, instead of doing the marketing work, it became more of managing people, managing stakeholders, being the connect between the global team, which included lots of calls and lots of this, in getting involved with lots of people. Like that's where I felt out of my comfort zone, because I am very
Mm,
particular about who I interact with, very sensitive to their energies. So being
mm,
forced to go and talk to a sales head just because it's part of work was not like kind of gelling with me. So, but yeah, for a decade, I stretched it. Like for the last 2, 3 years, it's money is definitely a lure. You cannot,
mm,
it's hard to give up that kind of money, big money which is coming in. The
mm,
profile, the title, something which even as a woman you feel very safe in, and or the masculine part inside us is very comfortable. Like this is where I am, in order to establish your status or demand respect, whether it is from spouse, from in-laws, from your own family. And being that torch bearer for women were denied jobs, right? So especially like my mother, she would feel very proud in the fact that I am at this level and doing this thing, while she had to leave her job when we were born. So it was her dream come true through me. So the idea of resigning from job, which was cultivating inside me, because
yeah.
getting to reach office at 9 a.m. and leaving the garden, those things had started pinching me slowly and slowly a lot, which we also see in astrology, that as we grow, these, bigger planet influences start growing. So this Neptune and Uranus, um, it was becoming harder for me, but I kept the outer world intact because it meant facing these people and their questions, which I faced. That if did we teach all this, invest in your education only that you start doing this thing after leaving all the MBA and corporate role, or you could have we could have helped you if you were worried about handling multiple things. We could have been there for you, but I said you don't realize the 10 or 12, 15 hours that I have to spend there, how difficult it is for me to spend. So I think it was
Mm,
me honoring that by taking a pause and saying that I think enough of it, and let me just take a break. And whatever savings I have, I think are enough for next 3 years at least for me to survive. And I had this trust on myself that I think I
mm,
am intelligent enough to figure out something in 2, 3 years. But in order to figure that out, I need that pause. I need to just come out of this rat race and be ready to face the questions which people will face. Everyone, in-laws, family, this
mm.
income is stopped coming all of a sudden, lakhs and lakhs of rupees per month.
Yeah.
So, and just settling like a housewife for 1.5 year and focusing just on family, focusing on my health. I had to be the the believer in myself, a very strong believer in myself, in order to do that, given the education and everything, right? If you have
Mm,
not done anything, no one will even ask you that why you are at home. But for me, it was
yeah.
tackling those questions on almost daily basis. So it was not like
Wow.
many friends feel that it was a sudden shift, because they have just seen the corporate and the achiever side of me in so worldly terms. But it's from years I have been doing this. I was doing it
Mm,
for myself, because when things became harder for me, I think a creator or the energies what was my first preference of solution. And connect, I had started already connected with such kind of teachers and people who talk about energy, talk about healing.
mm,
So that was part of me. It's just that during that pause, I realized that this is that authentic part of me that I can offer to the world. And then let me see, this is how I can serve people.
mm,
So it's
mm.
later in astrology, I saw that it's in my charts anyways, that Saturn in house 12. So I have to, this
Wow.
is my life path.
I
So
will get
lots.
into astrology for sure, Anu. But just one, one thought that comes up is that when you were in that, pause, or like that sacred pause, as we say, what were you doing like in that? I mean, is that where you don't like connect with people and you only work on yourself? So for people who don't understand, what is it and how did it help you?
So it happened during COVID time. I was in my third trimester, so that's the time when I resigned.
Mm,
A part of me wanted to keep stretching to this maternity leave and all, but I think my body was giving me signs, gestational hypertension happening. So it's we don't take action for ourselves, but it happens to something that we care about. So when the doctors said that maybe we'll have to induce you sooner, all those things they started warning me about that if this hypertension continues, I think that's when that became an additional help from the universe for me to take that decision. So it a major part of it went into bringing up a newborn. So third trimester and 9 months of my second daughter. And I think once she was around 6 months old, that's when I started thinking of, okay, now what do I need to do? Otherwise, I was just being at home. Anyways, COVID is there. I don't hate isolation. I actually love we moved to suburbs where there is a lot of greenery, garden, trees. So it was kind of a full life for me and fulfilling my
Mm.
role as a mother, as a wife, and just being at home, painting walls like, me and my daughter. So I think I let my inner child out. Our walls are scribbled anyways with kids thing. We don't mind that. And I also started, wherever I could find white patches, I started painting, um, reading books. And in general, I think it was more about just being like sleeping,
Mm.
eating, relaxing. There's no relaxation with a toddler and a small child, but whatever
Mm.
I could. And after she turned, I think 9 months, one question I started asking myself, it's like, um, how can I serve the world? What is in me that I can offer to the world? Because I had realized that the question cannot start with what can I do to make money? It has to
Mm.
be what are the gifts I have, being just me, not having to learn something new like that. Because that again takes you into this whirlpool of learning this and that. That if I learn this only, then I am sufficient. So I wanted to know that
Mm.
if I just want to be me, how can I be of
Mm.
use to the world? And I'm sure, once you are of use to the world will respond with love and money. But that was the second part. So that's what I was doing. I was in this continuous asking to the universe. I
Mm.
think that's, and then again it took like 8 9 months, and ideas started coming. When I would go on walk, I think it's like a channel used to open up in my mind. So much of download, and like, oh, okay, I can do this, that. And
Yeah.
over years I've developed trust on my intuition. So there was no delay in taking action on those insights which were coming. I think that's where
Mm.
I bypassed the major limbo that people get into. It's
And
happening, okay, I trust and I go with it.
yeah, and you mentioned that there was struggle, or at least there was this thought, not just by you, but people around you around money, right? And the money that was coming in with a job, say. How easy or difficult was it for you to, move from there to serving or, offering your gifts to people with not thinking about money? Because of course that probably does come to our mind, right? So how
Hmm.
did you move there without that desperation?
Uh, Interestingly, I've never felt not abundant. I've always had this thing in mind that money will come. Whatever I need will happen. So in that pause also, we were like we were dependent on husband who is again investing in crypto. And but that time also, it's not that we had taken out a major chunk of money and we were super duper rich, but our expenses were being met. So in the suburbs, when it's like around a lakh which is needed to take care of the family, it was happening, like child going to school, no restriction on what vegetables you can buy, and our needs are simple, vegetable, good quality milk, ghee, spacious house, nature. I think so. Neither my demands were disproportionate in order to
Mm.
fulfill someone else's idea of an image. It was about ourselves. So the budget required was this, and that felt enough because I have always been very, very full of gratitude. So I feel so full. I feel full for this tree that I'm seeing, the children who are laughing, the morsel of food that I'm eating. So it never felt like I have to do so much more in order to become happy, and finances are a reason for that. Or in parallel, I do have big plans, and if today, say 2 crore, 3 crore come, I know where to spend them because I just have, land in Himachal, or what I want to build there, the kind of sustainable, beautiful home and all. So that's why I think I had money also. So
Mm.
I
Mm.
was looking for that fulfillment, that happiness you get at the end of the day when you sleep, knowing that it's just that if today is the last night, then also it's beautiful. Like I think that's the feeling I chase.
Oh,
That you should feel fulfilled in that way. That not
yeah.
when 30th of a month will come, then I will feel fulfilled because the check is coming. Because after a while, it stops mattering. Money gets 5 lakhs, 5 lakhs every month, and it doesn't even make a dent in your happiness at all. So I've seen that.
So has this the feeling that you're talking about, or this habit, has it been inculcated over time, or have you always been like this, like growing up, or since you were, a child?
I think as a child also I've always been in awe of leaves, trees, color of flowers. Like it used to blow my mind. How can nature be so beautiful? And I like I'm telling you, I have had good luck of getting very beautiful teachers, and they would just inject that idea in my mind. Like I remember in class three, a teacher, we would give them flowers and she would have it. And in the morning, she just showed us one flower which had white flower with purple color inside. And she would see how good, beautiful nature is, how she has, this flower has been made. And that connected with me. And after that, that's how I started looking at things. So these tiny, tiny things I just picked up, and they have like this is what I teach my daughters. And even when she was like 1.5 years, she would raise up her hand and she's like, "Mommy, hawa, like air, this breeze which is blowing." Because she has seen me like. In fact, this was something which was very difficult to explain to people in corporate. So if there is a lunch
Mm.
break and I would go out and in Gurgaon, especially, and if there was rain which had just fallen and there was this aroma in the air from the soil, and I would come back feeling so happy, and I would like, I didn't realize I was smiling. I said, "How are you happy? Like, what has happened? Like, the smell of the earth is so beautiful. Like, just this tiny thing has made you happy." So this is what I find weird. If someone is happy, people find it abnormal. Like they question. But if someone is sitting sad, then it's like it's fine. Like they don't ask. Rather, it should be opposite, right? If someone is sad, you go and ask
Mm.
what happened. But they get surprised when someone is just full of joy and happy. Like, what happened? Like, how come you're so
Yeah.
happy? So that's how I
And
see the world.
And this is such a simple thing, I guess, to talk about, but it's so profound and deep, right? Just like to look for or to feel fulfilled even before, you think that you want something and you get it, and people kind of chase it, they keep running after it and still they can't be fulfilled or they can't feel that happiness. So it's literally a gift, yeah, to be able to feel it, and to be
Yeah.
able to see these little things that you're talking about. I'm also a great, like I just look at birds and like you're saying leaves and trees and I just become very happy just looking at a tree. So yeah, so I mean I can relate with the, the awe that you're talking about. Um, so moving close to nature, so are you living like close to a forest, or how is that working out for you? And how is that helping you maybe connect, with nature better?
Hmm. So just because I was clear that my happiness lies here, that's how I always kept pursuing a house with greenery, with bigger area. Again, I'm asked that, why didn't you join Tata? Like I got a job in Tata, TSMG, Tata Strategic Management Group, but just because I went to interviews for Mumbai and I've been to a friend's place and I saw that how tight it is, it's just because of that I just said I will not join Tata because it means living in Mumbai. And so it was always in my mind. That's how I would always hunt for my next home. And in COVID, when we got a chance of work from home, and we said enough of Gurgaon. Now work from home, we can work from anywhere. We were looking for places here, and one was like more in the mountains. It's very close. Like I can even see the mountains from here. So and there is greenery, and somehow we landed upon this house, which has a lake also by the side. So
Oh.
again, now it's very difficult for me not to bring the astrology thing into this Neptune, right? So water body right by my side, five, six trees in front yard, backyard, lots of greenery, lots of connect with the raw ground, it's very hard to find houses which don't have tiles laid out already. So having that earth to step onto in the beginning, I think that all has indirectly been helping me to ground.
Mm.
Having the opportunity to see the sunrise from the mountains and sunset in the lake. So my days,
Wow.
like you said, they were occupied in this. Like 1 hour is spent looking here, 1 hour is spent in the evening walking and looking at the sun only, the changing
Yeah.
hues. So I'm sure it has expanded my nervous system, calmed the vagus nerve, everything. Now that scientists are discovering, I've been doing intuitively. So I can now put the
Wow.
logic to it, but earlier it was just following my instincts.
Wow. And yeah, now why don't you tell us more about astrology and the various modalities? Like, what are you practicing in your healing world and offering, to people?
Mhm. So, in the beginning, I think it was just the way I think, which used to bring new insights, just my way of looking at the world. So, if they would come with some problems, especially friends, and I would say, okay, I see it in this way. And they were like, yes, it can be looked at it in this way. Yes, now it feels lighter. It makes more sense. Why didn't we call you like 2 weeks back? We should have called you.
Right.
And, talking to you has made it easier and lighter for us. So that touch I always had. Theta healing, I started learning at like the deepest time of my life. Even when
Mm.
I was Googling ways to suicide. So it was that phase in life when it felt like, what if it's very easy to just escape? And I was working in alcohol, and it was hard. It was I was determined, at least at that part, that I'm not going to touch alcohol, because I'd seen my dad develop dependency on alcohol. That even if it's very tough for me to get out of the bed, I'm not going to touch this bottle. Otherwise, it's a downward slope. So that I knew, because I had seen my dad that way. But emotionally, I was in a very vulnerable state. So that's when I connected with a theta healing teacher. She provided that comfort, and definitely, every teacher, I think, they promote that you learn, because then you can help yourself. So I had done that, and I was using that just for myself, sometimes for family, sometimes for clearing the energy zones of the hotel rooms that I was going as part of corporate travel. So I had interwoven it that way, but for myself.
Right.
Then learning tarot came into picture, just that one day I wanted to learn. It made no sense, but I learned. Again, I
Yeah.
had no plans of doing it for people, because I was still hesitant that how will I do it? All those barriers come when you start interacting
Mm.
with people. And it has always happened just like a switch. Like for months, for years, I was like, I'm not going to get into astrology. It feels so tough, deep, complicated. And in 1 month, I was like, I'm ready. I want to learn. And I thought between Vedic and Western, Vedic astrology, we have a lot around us. Since childhood, we have
Mm.
been, connecting with
Yeah.
astrologers. Western astrology gave me a very fresh perspective, because there, I think for the first time, I saw a personality being talked about, the positives, the negatives, the stress points from a person point of view, and not from general. Yeah, your career is fine, your money is fine. These were the kind of remarks I would get from the Vedic. Yeah, your career is fine, your this is fine. Like, get into the nitty gritty. It's the Western astrology who told me that you are already a born intuitive.
Mm.
You should talk to people more. I was like, do I need to go to Coursera and do a course on psychology? Like, you're saying intuition is high. It's like, no, no, you don't even need that. You just start talking to people. These tiny, tiny recommendations brought me out from an isolation into okay. Because I was very comfortable isolated also, right? So it gave me a nudge that maybe it's time to start talking to people. And how then I
Mm.
figured out ways that online is the way right now to do that. So Western astrology, I've been learning from almost now 2 years. I'm on the third level. I've consulted more than 50 to 60 people already. Many have come for second consultation, because when it starts working for you, then after 6, 8 months, they want to be like, okay, now we are ready for the next level. And I have
Mm.
already clients who are working for my third level to get complete. So this is the moment you complete it, you'll get a third, because we want to know more about us from what you're
Mm.
telling. So all these plus, my own experience, I think now I use that in one-on-one coaching, especially for corporate women, because they
Mm.
carry this burden of doing it all. And when something as natural as having to take a pause, or feeling restricted because you're about to give birth to a baby, or your maternal instincts are kicking in, but you've always been on that ride of performing, earning money. So I
Yeah.
think that's where I'm able to connect more and help them with this. So these are the few things I use as and when required. Uh, it
Wow.
happens automatically.
And then I know what's the role of faith or like God or like a higher power in your life?
Very much. Nothing happens without surrender. See, unless you surrender, you feel things are in your control. And when you feel that you are the one controlling everything, then uh, things will move as per your limited perspective. There are many times in life when even a simple thing like hunting for a perfect house, I've
Mm.
only achieved that when I surrendered. After doing a lot of work from myself, and exhausting myself, thinking this is what I want and this is the best flat that I can get. and I need to get a flatmate for it. Like that was my solution, and I would daily go and show flat to the people, like come become my flatmates. But one day I was exhausted. My timeline at the guest house was running out. I just on the way back, I remembered this thing of surrendering to universe and asking what else is possible. I said, maybe you know better than me, so I give up. You show me the way. That tell me what is there in store for me. And then in few days, someone calls me. She has her own place she has looked into, and she said, "You are also looking for flatmate. I'm also looking for flatmate. So would you like to come and see the property that I have seen?" And the moment I stepped into that house, it was a perfect small villa with so much of light, so much of openness. I was like, wow, I couldn't have thought it with my small mind. You need bigger mind to do that. And even since childhood, I think whenever I would go for temple, it's a small thing. When I listen, it would make sense to me. I'm like, yes, it makes sense. So I would go to the temple and not ask for something specific. I would just talk to God and say that, you already know much more than me. Who am I to tell you that what should happen in my life? Like I might
Yeah.
think I might need it. It's just like 8, 9 year old also. That's how I would talk.
Yeah.
That do whatever is best for me. That's all. That used to be my approach. That you know better. So you do whatever is best for me. You know it. So I
Yeah.
think that's the surrender part has been there. And life has, whenever I've not surrendered, life has taught me. Like it has brought down on my knees. When you literally get into that child pose, be on the ground and say that I give up
Yeah.
because it's not working out.
Yeah. So have you been able to find a balance between knowing what you want and then also surrendering in somewhere in the middle? Because I think that's where
Hmm.
people try to control the outcome, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So now, as I'm growing into my self practice, definitely working with clients is helping me get to see my blind spots also. So working more on that. Uh, I I have moved to a zone where I don't think I know what I want or need. It's more of this vibe of
Mm.
joy. I just follow that. So if you say that
Mm.
buying that land in mountains, it was nowhere in my plans 2 months till 2 months back. It's just that in the last trip when I went there for the first time, like I've always gone to mountains, done trekking, and come back, and it's fine because you come back to your home where you have your own bed and everything. But for the first time, I felt like I don't want to go back. This is home. This is where I want to be. So from that thought, because I sensed it and told it to my husband also that this is the first time I'm feeling this. I've been to mountains multiple times. Okay, this is home. Now, what does this is home can mean? I need a land. I need to stay here. The kids' education should happen. So then that the joy that I will get on stepping on that land and living in mountains and not just sitting here and having to look at them, that's driving me. Sometimes I retreat back when I feel that client work is becoming too much. Sometimes
Mm.
the kick that I get from connecting with them becomes so much that I come up with a completely new program. Like recently, a 7 days
Yeah.
just using music I created out of blue, and even if there are 4, 5 people in one batch, I don't mind because it's like I'm sharing something and it's a joy of sharing. And when they say that this is clicking with them. So and now I follow this feeling of joy. If it's in resting and disconnecting from the world, I do that. If it is going out in the world, doing podcasts, now I'm planning a retreat also with 2 other coaches. And if
Wow.
it is exciting me, I move forward with greater force. So there is no limbo. That's what I'm saying. I just trust that feeling of joy and just do it. Like play. And now I'm living like that. I just want to play in the world. So what do you play? You only play where you feel the joy. Like that's how a child does, right? They will play
Wow.
wherever they feel happy. So you go and play.
And I mean, this is wonderful, right? In terms of just following that. But for people, who have, say, doubts, right? Or who are procrastinating or who are not even sure what they want,
Hmm.
what's the suggestion that you would have for them to be able to, channel this play mode um, in some way,
Hmm.
or at least
Hmm.
come
Hmm.
closer to it? Yeah. Mm.
See, it would feel like self-promoting, but it's like, when you connect to a coach or, you come and
Yeah.
talk to me. But I think that's how I've been able to help because, yes, there are barriers and there are very invisible barriers also. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's from what you're just one thing you heard from a parent, and that's just stopping you from doing something as simple as completing your loan.
Yeah.
Because in your head, your father said that it has to be in installments. So the shutting down of the loan, even when you have the finances, it was not happening. At some simple things like this, people are stuck. Sometimes it is from
Mm.
previous generation that someone passed away, and then their miseries as the prodigy you are in the family carrying. So when that is released, that's what it happens. I'm still working on releasing so many things from my childhood. It's not that the work is complete. Yesterday itself I had a session when I went back to the same incident and opened up something new. And now, like, I
Yeah.
have that connection with my spiritual father and mother. Like, I saw them and the love that they have. So simple things, like connecting more with nature. Start looking at the sun in the morning in the sunrise. Sun will start
Mm.
communicating with you. Look at the moon. But for that, you need to create time. And sometimes we are so much into our thoughts that we are not able to do that because we don't even know what to prioritize. Because mind says
Mm.
go for money, something says go for this role as a mother, but a tiny part of you wants to look at the moon, so you don't get time. So there, getting help of someone else's brain who can look at you from another perspective and tell
Mm.
you some things or help you through with that process, whether it is through tarot, through theta healing, give you those insights which make you like,
Mm.
wow, yes, this makes sense. And many times people just need to listen from someone else that it's okay if you do this. That itself,
Yeah.
I've seen in clients like, thank you, you have said this.
Relief.
Like, I've been thinking, yeah, but no one else, everyone else was telling me, have a way around this. You can be a mother also, pregnant with twins, and you can keep working. But a part of them wanted to just take a pause. And when I said that it's fine, and in that kind of talking also sometimes leads to the burden getting away from the shoulder. So I would say do not delay. Sometimes people try to, do it on their own. I am not
Yeah.
doing. I am taking help of my mentors because I want to fast track. I don't
Yeah.
want too much of time for me to figure out what will work for me. I just sit in front of my coach and say, okay, this is today what I'm dealing with. I am here 1.5 hour, 2 hour. Let's do it, and they clean it up for me because they are at a
Yeah.
higher level. Never hesitate to take help.
Yeah.
It's actually more common sense and intelligent to take help.
Yeah, and also there is this whole mentality of I will figure it out. Clearly, we are not able to figure some things out. That's why we are stuck. But even then, it's asking for help is another kind of shame that, a lot of people struggle with. I was just thinking of, how people use tarot cards for not just predictions, but also for healing and to
Hmm. Hmm.
get some new perspectives. So, do you also use tarot or astrology for guidance for your own self, and how has that influenced your life, like in terms of improvement? Because I am learning Vedic astrology, so in that sense, I'm trying to learn about different planets and stuff. But is Western astrology different, and how does that work?
Hmm. Hmm. Uh, Before that, I think there's one important message about the previous
Hmm.
question I just wanted to share is that people see it as help, and from help, they see that they are weak and they need help. But I
Yeah.
see it as education or getting mentored. And since childhood, tell me that when you did not have any mentors, you had mentors as teachers, as parents, as an elder sibling. So it's just like learning from someone who is one level higher than you. I think that's how
Yeah.
people should see, even for mental health. It's not that you are broken and you need help. You don't
Yeah.
like, I don't know about heart, so I will go to a heart specialist. As simple. I don't
Yeah.
feel bothered about it. People are very quick in going to a doctor because they've surrendered. Like, he knows better. He will tell me about my heart. So maybe about your nervous system, you don't know. And you will learn, but by that time, it will be very long for you. So go to someone who knows more about nervous system and get the knowledge, like you are watching a podcast. So it's like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would just say
Yeah.
that it's not help. It's just take assistance from someone who knows better. Okay. Yes. And now the question about Western astrology, right? So even tarot, yes. I think I teach also intuitive tarot. And the first thing we
Mm.
teach there is that future is a con. And the
Mm.
moment you try to predict future, you become con man. This Alejandro Jodorowsky, who is like the father of tarot. So
Mm-hmm.
we always use definitely prediction or some kind of, what is possible is there, but it doesn't stop only at that. It's possible when, how, what are the changes the person need to do. So that guidance is always part of the questions. And even if it is not, we direct the client towards thinking that they will say, okay, this is the
Yeah.
problem, this person is doing this, that. And I divert them to, okay, what do you want? And maybe they just want love. Okay, so let's see what's the guidance for you to get love. Because right now you're
Mm.
thinking that this person, I want this person to do and behave in this way so that I can get love. But your main goal is love. So maybe it will come from your colleagues or from clients, from anywhere it can come. So, or maybe you need to give it to yourself. So I always try to reframe the question for them. And when I ask them, what do you want? That's when they get back into their mind, okay, what do I want? They had never thought about this. Because they were very
Mm.
clear about this person is this, that is happening, this is happening, and very outward. So I bring them inwards, I give them
Mm.
guidance. And I think I try to change their perception about the entire situation. It gets changed in that session because that's how they start looking at it. The difference I found in Western astrology, like I said, telling about very much about the personality in a deeper form, like because then things started making sense for me. I have strong
Right.
Uranus, and that's why I would always keep on shifting jobs because I would get bored. Without knowing astrology, I had figured that if someone has to keep me in job, every 6 months they need to give me a new project. I cannot be that brand marketeer, who is working on the same brand year on year with little bit tweaks. I have to get something new, start a
Mm.
fresh new territory and deliver results and then move on to another project, which showed up in my Uranus planet. So it relieved me of the burden that why I was behaving like a runaway bride, just stop
Mm.
that job. And when you realize that it's it's energy you are not using, so you start
Right.
using the energy of that planet in a more constructive way, and this kind of running around or unnecessary travel will stop. So you consciously plan trips. You consciously and it's Uranus with Mercury, right? Mercury is communication. So that's why I think my astro consultant that time she told me that the more you talk, the more insights you will get. So
Mm.
that's when I started talking, and many times it's when talking to clients I get so much new insights. So Western astrology, I felt second thing, it gave very much importance to free will, something again which the prevalent Vedic astrologers had never talked about. They always talk in very definitive terms, and yes, most of the times it's quite true if he's a good astrologer. But just by saying, you're training the mentality of the person to expect that this is how it will happen. The marriage part is not good in your this thing, or this is you cannot be इस चीज में आपको हमेशा नुकसान होगा. This is what will not help you. So I've seen people, who start living with that. Like they will not put effort
Mm.
in the marriage because some astrologer has told them that your marriage is already fucked up. So like, what's the point
Mm.
of trying? Like
Yeah.
we accept it.
The fear.
So
Yeah.
fear, yeah, and talking so definitely, we learned in tarot also. We
Mm.
always talk of possibility. We always have the
Yeah.
free will to change. And again, in Western astrology, I learned that there are like 10 to 12 levels of the same planet. So if it's on your free will and on your evolution level, that for some planet Pluto, at the lowest level, maybe you will be very charismatic to women, like opposite gender will get attracted to you, and the person can use it in positive way or a negative way. And at the higher level, you will become a super transformer, super investor, big money flowing to you. So it's the same power. Someone is using here, someone is using there. Your
Yeah.
house 5, like house of creation, is very good. Maybe you will just create babies, that's it, and that will be your life. Or maybe you will create a business or launch something spectacular for the world. So there again, the free will part comes in, or the evolution part. So all this, yeah,
Yeah.
they
And I think the
dive deeper.
power, yeah, I mean, it's not the planets, it's actually the people who are, giving that information out there. And there is a lot of responsibility. I spoke about this, I think, earlier also with someone who was talking about astrology, that there is free will and there are possibilities, and nobody can be certain about one thing that this is how it will be. And, that gives people the choice, to make a decision. And then,
Hmm.
if every moment you have so many choices, then whatever decision you take, it also depends on that, right? So yeah,
Hmm.
that that
Hmm. Hmm.
that I think there are differences in the two modalities, but you are right. I think especially the way it's been portrayed overall, Vedic
Hmm.
astrology, it's like that. It seems restrictive in terms of and a lot of very fear based as well. Yeah, yeah.
I think difference is
Um,
also because here, people they're dealing with different kind of prices they're charging, 100 rupees, 500 rupees. And the kind of clients which are coming, they're not looking for free will guidance. They want like, when will this marriage happen? So that's also, it's important that when your prices are high enough, that's one of the reasons, because I value my time, and I'm very clear what kind of clients I want to interact with, who are at that
Mm.
evolution level to understand this, and not just badgering me that I've given you 500 rupees, so you tell me whether this will happen or not. So
Yeah.
I think they have dealt so much with this level that they cannot help but they have to do that. Like they kind of, and plus, that's how they have been raised. Own growth also matters. If you have lived a fear-led life, how can you not give to the clients what is fear-led? And I don't know what Vedic, these like the ones which are around us will say about the twins chart, which is same planets,
Mm.
but mother is saying they both are behaving differently. They both have different
Mm.
interests. So that's why, just by seeing the chart, because sometimes people come to me that, you see our chart and you send us in written, like I cannot, I have to interact with the clients. I have to
Mm.
see, talk to you, and then see at which level of moon you're operating, at which level of sun. Maybe there is a stress on moon in your chart, but you have already, through your own this thing, you've already overcome it, and it's no longer a problem for
Mm.
you. So how
Mm.
can I just write it, say moon is stressed and this is how you should do it? So uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that also.
Wow. So then in terms of clients that you get, Anu, do you feel like you can help everyone who comes to you with any kind of issue?
No, I don't think I have that much of bandwidth. Like I said, I value my life and time. Like it's very limited hours that I put into this. So that's one reason why there will be always a cap on the number of people I can directly interact one on one. And sometimes, people come with issues which are not under my purview. Like there was someone
Mm.
whose husband had just passed away like a couple of months back, and she was in very distraught situation. So after talking to her and this giving chat coaching kind of thing, I realized that she needs to first take some time to breathe, because she's not
Mm.
in the state where an astrology consultation will fully sink in. She's into questions of why this happened, why that happened in a different way. So I suggested her, that maybe right now you seek psychologist help, went
Mm.
out, talk, give this thing some time, because you're still in the shock phase, and then we can connect. So I have said no to people who are ready to pay also, because I felt that this was not the right time for them to have it. So,
Mm.
and sometimes
Okay.
people have ready, they have paid, but because of one reason or another, either they keep getting stuck in the schedule, timings don't match. So, it will happen when it has to happen. When sometimes we pray to the ancestors. There was one UK client, and whenever, somehow we would match our timings, some issue either with my technology, either with her, for 4 5 weeks, it kept happening. Like, what's happening? The moment I open her chart, laptop is not working. It's only when
Yeah.
I open her chart. So then I suggested her to pray to the ancestors that let it happen, because sometimes it happens that the energies are like that even chart reading becomes difficult. So after that
Wow.
it became so. But yeah, that's all I
Yeah.
also have seen. Chart would
So
not
then,
open.
do you also get clients like, if you tell them, of course, when, you're doing a reading, you probably also give them some ways they can remedy stuff, right? Or make things better.
Hmm, hmm.
So do you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
clients who are addicted to suffering or, they keep going around in circles in the same issue again and again?
Yes, yes. So, Touchwood, most of my like 90% of the clients, they are intelligent. Like that's how I love. Why I thought I couldn't be a teacher was I cannot deal with dumb people. Like in my terms, dumb people. Like from childhood, if I had to teach someone maths, I would pray that they understand, because burden of knowledge, right? You know, thousand ways to do a solution, and they don't even get the one way. But here, sometimes, in the session, there are clients who, in the first 15 minutes, they understand and it clicks with them. And
Hmm.
when I surrender more to my karmic clients, I think then I get more of such clients who already just click with me, or they feel it. They talk to me once and like, Anu, talking to you, somehow we are opening about things which we had not told anyone, or no one in my family knows, but we are updating only you. So that's the kind of trust that they have. Very rarely, I think it's only 5%. Like I only have one or two clients like that interacted till now, who are so stuck. And it's also because of the planetary things like Pluto conjunct Moon. So I can see in the planets also. Sometimes I see their chart and I know how to talk to them. What will satisfy
Right.
their mood? What will calm them down? So I actually utilize different approaches of talking after seeing their chart, because there was a client who would ask like 30 questions, like one question after another, and she was intelligent. She would get the answer, get it, and another question. So um, it would have irritated me, like but I had seen her chart, so I knew that this is how her moon works, her peace on emotion it works. So I was open for it. Like I think the whole hour I was just giving her answers, and she's like, "Yes, I know, I got it. Now this is the next question." So
Mm.
that helped me have empathy for her way of working. But yes,
Yeah.
there are clients who pressed, and for them, then it becomes very important that that one particular planet we start unlocking, because it has shown up in their life thing, like Pluto with Moon. Mother suicided, mother died when they were 2 years old, and that impacted them. And now, when the moment they became mother, they're so scared of something will happen to the daughter, or something will happen to them, and what will happen to the daughter then. So I can see the pattern. So instead of then giving them a download of all the planets and everything, I try to calm their nervous system and focus on that first one unlock, and then only they will be ready for. So I don't mind taking half a session more again with them, break it down a bit, sorry,
Mm.
so that it becomes easier for them to absorb.
And then, have you seen such planets, Anu, where you've seen that, there is some sort of, like you just said, there was a pattern that, maybe keeps repeating. So they still have the free will to change it, right? Or have you seen people like going with the flow in the chart and then also going through the suffering? Like, does that, like, how do you get empathy for that? You can see something and that's what's happening, and you've suggested there can be a change, but they are also too occupied and are not able to bring about the change. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yes, yes. Because again, as a coach, this has been my learning that it's just 50% is my responsibility. I do the best. In the beginning, I always connect with the creator, and there also I surrendered, saying that let your
Mm.
voice be my voice. Let it be you who speaks through me. And in childhood, that poem in convent used to say, "Lord, make me an instrument of your peace." Like I am so much getting back to all those prayers, and it makes so much now sense. So let
Yeah.
it be. And even if I somehow say something wrong, I just pray that the client doesn't hear. Like it will happen that way. The client will listen what they have to listen. Many times they have gone back. I provide recordings as well. So after 3 months, they listen
Hmm.
to the recording and they say, okay, this is something we had not heard before. Now we are able to hear it. We talked about this also. So that helps them learn
Interesting.
more and more, even if they see the same recording. And I have made peace with the fact that 50% responsibility is theirs. I'm not the one doing anything. I'm just a channel. So it will go to them, and they will receive whatever they are ready for. And the clients who actually they implement like day two, day one itself. Oh no, we have started doing, with water, we have started doing swimming and this and that. Or they already used to love it. But when I talked about it, that this is where your Neptune is going to work, like, wow, we had not thought about it. And they're very quick in taking action. They are the ones who
Wow.
come back to me after 5 months and say that, Anu, my finances have become 3x, and now I want another reading. You have just completed level 2. Let's get, like, they're the first ones to take the reading without even asking, how much is it, let's connect. And they come to the session saying, we don't know, we have no questions now, so you tell us. And it flows
Mm.
from there, and something comes up which neither they had thought nor I had thought, but it just flows. So I think that's where
Wow.
theta healing is helping me in astrology, because I always connect to the creator. And now I've built a discipline to ground myself after doing client sessions. In the beginning,
Hmm.
I was not doing that too much, and I was feeling very exhausted. These are like the sciences of sixth plane. In theta healing, we talk about seven planes. So tarot, astrology, anything which deals with signs and symbols are sciences of sixth plane, and they are energy draining. There is an energy exchange which happens. So if you connect to the seventh plane, which is like the infinite love of the creator, the white light that you usually see in meditation, that is not exhausting. So I
Right.
always go in meditation to seventh plane, and then go to the law of signs and symbols and connect, like, okay, now show me. It's very interesting to
Yeah.
play with these.
Yeah. So actually, that just flows into the next question of, do you have any protection rituals or anything, that you regularly do in order to protect your energies, especially when you're working with clients?
So yeah, I think in the beginning when I've started it started with me feeling drained, exhausted, not grounded.
Mm.
Then my amethyst crystal, like I started wearing amethyst as a pendant close to my body. Also have, like, I love crystals, right? You know, my
Yeah.
house of Capricorn sun. So whatever comes from mountains, I think this is like the pyrite is there, and many of the crystals are here. So I started wearing them, but eventually I wanted that it has to be me who feels safe, because if I feel unsafe, it will be unsafe. So I started practicing that ball of energy around me. And
Mm.
yesterday I was doing with one of my coaches a theta session on myself. So there, when I connected with my spiritual father and spiritual mother energy, what they showed me was that I have always been protected. It's not that I have been out of their sight no matter what I do here. So, like today, I don't even feel the need to do that meditation to create that golden ball of light around me. Whatever in the
Yeah.
vision I saw yesterday, that orb is always around me. So now I can just go and play in the world, knowing that it's an invisible energy, right? So even if you feel that something is coming towards you and you're getting scared, it will not happen to you. But
Yeah.
and now I've stopped feeling scared also, because I know that it's not going to harm me. So the people who feel very anxious about, oh, someone will do this, someone will do that. I've had this conversation with my mother also. When you're getting afraid, so you are trusting their God more than yours, right? Because you think that you have to do something. So you have more confidence in their power of harming you than in your creator's power to protect you. So you have to check,
Mm.
are you even surrendering or praying, or you're just doing agarbatti and incense and just following it as a ritual.
That's
So
so
yeah,
true.
do you trust your
Yeah.
God?
Mm. No. Um, wow, I know we just flew by. It's almost like a year, an hour now. So yeah, just moving to the, last segment. This podcast is all about, hope and motivational stories. So have you over the years working with people had clients where you've seen amazing transformations or, stories of hope that you want to share with all of us?
Yeah. I think first cases of myself only, where definitely you would say that jump that I made and that was all great. But I would say that in last 2 3 years, eventually when I've come to this realization that I'm not here to teach tarot or astrology, because I was always seeking that. What is it that I'm going to achieve from this? What is it that I
Yeah.
can contribute? So it's not astro session or tarot session. It is helping people live their authentic and free life. I think that's the words which came to me. That's what my ancestors either had, or when they did not have, they were suffering from diseases and they wanted it in their heart. But again, the worldly responsibilities kept them into these, keep doing work for your family and not for yourself. So living an authentic and free life is my main purpose. And when I connect people with this in the one-on-one sessions, whether through tarot, astrology, or one-on-one, just general coaching also, they're able to make their own decisions. It's not that they don't know what they want, but they're not listening to that inner voice, or they're too wrapped
Yeah.
up in the definition of the world of who they are or who they should be. Like in the I had problem with this when my flatmate would introduce me as, I'm Ahmedabad graduate and she works as a brand manager in Nestle. Then my name would come and I would be bothered by it. Like, why me being an IIM Ahmedabad graduate more important in this world? Why can't it be, okay, she is Anu and she loves to dance and she loves to read? Like, why is this not the important part of the identity? So, what if people can connect to who they are, start living their life? That's what astrology also tells us, right? That this is what you're made of. This is where you're taking action in this area, but you're supposed to take action in this area. So that this loop which we're talking about, they're stuck because they're using that energy in this different form. They're very disciplined, say for office, but they're not disciplined in the spiritual quest. And maybe like my Saturn in house 12, that is where they need to create discipline. So through that, when they connect through tarot guidance, when they connect, or simply when I ask them that what do you want, and they get into this zone of what do I want, what do I feel, they connect more with their authentic and free self.
Mm.
I've had case studies, where people just became open to doing what they want and clients started flowing then to me. Like I said, finances became 3x and they're coming back again and again for another session. Or recently a client who after like 3 or 4 sessions, if in the beginning her problem statement was, I want to do this. And 90% was, this is what they will say, this is what, but, all that. And after 4 sessions, I talked, okay, what do you think about this thing area of your life now? She said, Anu, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm doing. And if this thing comes, then I can say this. Like, that's it. That was her. Like, she was very sure, this is what I'm going to do. I've already started doing. And if one or two hiccups come, then I will tell them because of this thing. There was no but, no if, no thousand questions like what will they say, what will I do when this thing happens, if my money runs out. So this is the transformation that happens in the brain. And she took that decision, and now she's a happy conceiving mother rather than a stressed conceiving mother. And I'm sure that will impact the health of her children, impact her role as a mother, impact her personal relationship, when they will actually become parents and you have that struggle of maintaining the relationship. You've seen that the moment a newborn comes, it's the first hit is on the relationship. So all that will be easier because the bandwidth has opened up. So I think being true, living an authentic and free life is what opens up the bandwidth to handle all the shit in the world. And that's why I'm curating this, offline experience also, because clients are like, we have been interacting with you online and we want to meet you. So the moment I announced the retreat, they were like, wow, we have been thinking about it and you just announced, and what a beautiful thing. So maybe in Goa in December,
So yeah,
a
please
5
talk
day.
about the retreat.
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. Just in the process, but I'm so excited. Even when I was in corporate, I can say 10 years back, this was in my dream. A spiritual retreat where I take people to natural places, and then I had this vision of teaching tarot on grass. People are sitting. So all these visions, they help me move towards that faster, because I can see this is how it will feel like. So this will be in Goa in December. We are finalizing the dates in second half of December. 5 days, 4 nights. I think 4 nights, 4 days, five, whatever, 5 days, 4 nights. Yes. And it's me and two other coaches, and it is reconnect. So re.connect. So you don't have to connect to anything. You're already born with that connection. We just somewhere lose that touch with our authentic self, with nature, with anything which the creator. So it is about reconnect. You reconnect with that feeling through whatever ways we will do, but it will help you be that, relax, rejuvenate, enjoy. It's a very limited batch of say 15 people only. So that's how they will be able to connect at the highest level with the curated experience for curated set of minds, brilliant minds who just want to relax and connect back. So we three coaches, we will do whatever we do best and help them achieve that state, and it will be an experience. So it's like, I think, my first step in a series of retreats that I've been doing. Like, I can say it, I know it, that this is where my heart lies. And we have just created a page for it. So it is the re.connect retreats. And my own page is arisen now. Maybe you can tag that also, and people will be able to find it. Yeah. So this retreat is going to happen in December in Goa, and it'll be beautiful. So everyone is welcome to join. We have created a group. Our waitlist has already started filling up, because soon we'll launch early bird prices, and it's just 15 seats. So I think I'll have to do another one soon in March. In March, I'll have to do again, because there are people, who want to attend, but somehow December doesn't suit them. So it will happen.
Wow. Wow, it was so good and refreshing. And I mean, the conversation itself was very healing. Thank you so much, Anu, for being on my podcast and sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, thank you so much. And loved, waking up early here and seeing the sunrise happen. And it's good that we were able to, match times and connect, because this message needs to go out. And as I've been into marketing, branding, communications, we know that it has to be said at least 10 times, heard at least 7 to 10 times for it to sink in. Things, which theoretically, then by experience, but one day it makes sense now. Like, it sinks to your bones. I think that's the aha moment which happens. And maybe from this, someone will get that moment. For some. So it was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anu. And Anu, if you can just share that link also with me, then I will put that, in the show notes, and anybody who's interested can reach out to you. All right.
Done. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.